ماجي كل الأساطير بتبدأ كده، بيحكي إنسان يكرره يتنقل والكل يرفض يصدق إنه ما حصلش.
أو أنت رافض تصدق إنها حصلت.
Hello and welcome to my favorite interview of 2020. We have really exciting news for you right here on Egypt's #1 for hit music, NileFM. I'm Sarah, and in the studio, I'm joined by two awesome people. But before we get to those two awesome people, let me tell you why this interview is going to be insane. First, it's the first Egyptian Netflix original series. Second, it's about one of the best-selling thriller series that is deeply rooted in Egyptian culture, and it's by the late Dr. Ahmed Khalid Tawfiq. And third, because I, as a kid, was one of the biggest fans of this series. So in the studio today, I am joined by the amazing people behind Paranormal, the most awaited series of 2020. I'm joined by Razane and Jammal. Hello, Razane.
Can I clap for myself?
Applause. Who plays the role of Maggie. She is a British Lebanese actress and model who plays the role of Maggie. She has a lot of stories and things and a lot of really cool things about her that we're going to be sharing in a second. And also by the one and only Salama.
I'll clap for you. Fine. Thanks for clapping for me before. بجد عمرو.
And Amr is
I'm used to this.
He's a very humble.
This is what he went through for 6 months while we were filming, basically.
He is the creator and executive producer and director of Paranormal, and that is the very last of a very long list of really cool stuff that I will also be telling you about. But
this is the best introduction that I ever heard in my life from myself. Literally.
He's gonna have it as a voice note. He's gonna have it as a voice note.
Yes,
now.
no, this is good.
Wake
No,
up to it. Good morning, Amr. This is the best.
I will force all my friends to have it as a ringtone.
Now
we're
the
joined
one
with
and
the
only.
one and only Amr Salama. I'm gonna make
It's
my mother
true.
listen to it. And then
Maybe
Well,
you
wait
should
until
get
I have more to say. You're gonna have a lot of ringtones.
I'm all ears, darling. Keep
So
going.
let me first welcome you. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
me today.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Sarah.
Super
for having
excited
us.
to have you, both of you.
Yeah,
excited
super
to be
excited to be having an interview in English.
Yes.
I-
It's our first interview in
Yeah.
English.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Can you do a Scottish accent throughout?
Now, no.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
Well, you're
1,
gonna.
2, 3,
No,
4.
actually,
Yes,
this is what I
stop.
used to do on set. Like, everybody started doing like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because it's a different voice placement.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like French is at the back, British is frontal. It's Scottish is here. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Set.
Yeah, but I can't
7,
talk. Like,
8.
I learned my script like a mantra. It was so difficult to learn.
Yes.
Oh, I'm gonna
So I
ask
would
you
go and I
so
had so many
much
people
about
read
it.
with me. Yeah. No,
Well,
I can't do it. No.
You're going to give us
I
a
can
little
do
bit
many
more.
other accents.
We're
but-
going to go through all of them. We got, what, an hour? You're going to do this interview a little bit in French, a
I
little
can
bit
do it
in
like
Scottish.
this. Now we can start like
Yes.
this if you want to. Okay. Okay.
Okay, Paranormal.
C'était génial.
It is very good, actually.
Yes, the director Amar Salama is so good. Really
you
the
are so
best.
good to actrice.
Okay, welcome to this multicultural interview with people from different planets, because I really don't know who these people are. So I know you've been through.
You can't-
This is the end of our press week. We're
Yes,
so
yes.
exhausted.
I just got to say,
So exhausted,
how many
yeah.
interviews have you done so far?
I did more than 40 interviews yesterday. Literally.
In one day?
In one day.
How many questions were repeated?
All of them.
Okay, any question that's repeated, just wink.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be like,
And then I'll cut it short. I'll
But
be like,
that's
yeah,
the
another
code.
question.
It's like, oh, such an interesting question. That's
Okay.
the code for
That
something
is
that we've
our
heard
code.
before.
Nice, I
So
love that.
I'll give you this today.
Amazing. So let me ask you a couple of questions, because I have a lot in
Yes.
mind. Now, growing up, I was a big fan of the series, I have to tell
Yeah.
you. I was one of those people that...
Thank you for saying series, because everybody is telling me, tell us about the novel. The novel. It's not a novel, it's a series of books. So it's like always like, tell us about the novel. And it drives me crazy. It's like I can't correct everyone. So thank you for saying it's a series of books.
This is the geek in him kicking in,
Yes,
like, no,
yes.
stop saying.
But
it's
you
a
have to stay
novel.
true to the series.
Yes.
I love it. There's another geek here. What is happening?
I like you. I like you.
You have to stay true to a lot of parts of the
Yes,
series.
yes,
So
yes.
the series for me, obviously, it was a very
Yeah.
big thing. As a kid, my brother used to have the books in a really high bookshelf. I used to
Yeah.
climb up the bookshelf,
Yes.
grab
Oh,
a
yeah.
book, and then take it to bed. And the moment that I get into bed, and I open the book, I know that I cannot get out of the bed because the monsters will grab me, the usual.
So you believed in monsters when you were a kid?
Oh, of course.
I did too, though.
Really?
Yes, I used to. It's a very embarrassing story, but I used to get in bed and I would like stick myself to the wall because my bed was next, because I was afraid that the monster would bite me in the bum. I don't know if I can say that. I was a kid, okay? I don't believe this now.
Yeah, right, I'm sure. Did you jump like really far from the bed to switch on the light?
I would keep the lights off. It wouldn't even be off. Are you kidding?
So now that the series, this is what it was for me. What was it for you? Because I know you grew up with the series.
Yeah.
So what was it for you?
When I was a kid?
Yes.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I think the series was subconsciously turning me into another Refaat Ismail.
Was it?
I think so, yeah. That's why I related to the character so much.
Yeah.
He's thin as a pencil.
Yes.
Obviously. He's half bald, obviously.
I didn't notice.
He's self-deprecating.
He smokes like Berlin when the Allies invaded Berlin. So that's exactly me. So I don't know if I turned into Refaat Ismail, or I don't know if I liked Refaat Ismail because that was my future and I didn't know it. So somehow Refaat Ismail was the most related character for me in my entire world. Literally, I was Refaat Ismail is like when they say like his voice over, as if like in the books he always had these thoughts that turned into my own voice over. Sometimes I wish I would meet people who knows paranormal that much, so we can exchange quotes.
Yes.
Like when you know your friend who knows all the all the jokes from the films, the famous films and books and plays. So it's like I want to meet more people who knows paranormal, so I can say this to them and say this to them. So Refaat Ismail had all these witty quotes,
super cynical, really
super
funny.
Cynical, yeah.
You lost a lot of hair?
وانت ما خسرتيش صراحتك يا ماجي.
Coming up with all these quotes and jokes in the middle of all this thrill and horror and tension, that was the exact definition of a comic relief.
Yeah.
Since we were kids. So Refaat Ismail was like you're reading the books with two intentions: to see all these monsters and to read all these thrilling stories, but at the same time I was searching for those little quotes. He always say all the witty remarks, and that was one of the iconic things of the books, and that was one of the hardest thing to do, because we never seen that before. We never seen a series or a film that's a horror or there's a comedy horror, but there is no horror that has this witty, sarcastic voice over it.
That's very true.
So that's, I think, is a patent to the books and to the series we were trying to make.
I have so many things I want to ask about that, but before I get into this, you said something really interesting. You related a lot to Refaat Ismail. Now, personally, I actually related to Maggie.
Oh my God, did you?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
But that's
Tell
very
me
snobbish to be
more.
related.
I have to tell you.
We have so many
Relating to Refaat
stories.
Ismail is very humble.
It's very humble.
What's
But
wrong with
relating
relating
to
to
Maggie.
Maggie, that's very snobbish.
You kind of like
بنت
aspire.
البلد Maggie. What are you talking about?
So I want to
Which
get
ballad?
I actually want to talk about that for a second. So Roseanne, tell me a little bit about how you felt. Like, I know you
How I got the part?
First of all, I know.
That's a very
I want to
interesting
say
question.
that
Okay, there's a story there that I have to know about. Okay, how did you get the part first?
So I don't know how much I'm allowed to say. Okay, no one's looking. So actually, what happened is when it was so top secret in the beginning. I just got a script saying foreigners speaking broken Arabic. So I just did it like I treat it as I treat any other audition. I was like, okay, I try to extract as much information as I can about the character, and I just do it. And I did it, and I didn't think I was good. And then I got a call back, and I was like, what?
Are you sure?
And then, yes. And then I did it again, and they're like, great, there's another scene. And then I got another one, and I was like, what? How is this happening? And the more I was getting, the more I was like, okay, this is getting serious. What is this? Like, what's happening?
Are you guys sure?
Yes. And when I met Ahmed, I still didn't know it was for Ma Wara Tabi'a. When I met you in
When
London.
we met in London?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just said I'm Scottish, but I was like,
Yeah.
okay, it's a Scottish character. I didn't know what it was for exactly.
yes.
And can I say
said-
it?
I
Can I
said-
tell you what
yeah,
I told
sure,
you? It's
sure.
really bad for me though.
Yeah.
No, you have to
please.
tell me now. It's out.
because-
It's out in the air. You have to
So
say it.
I knew she was Scottish who speaks Arabic,
Yeah.
right? So either they were going to get a person from Scotland to speak Arabic, or they're going to get an Arab to speak Scottish.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it was more in my favor, and I felt it. And I was sitting and I was so nervous, and I was like, think of something, be confident, do something to get this part. So I go and I'm like, and I see Ahmed with another girl. I'm like, why are you even bothering
Another
with her?
actress.
You know I got the part. Like, don't
It's
even
like,
waste
why are you
your time
meeting
with her.
other actresses? I'm getting the part.
I'm Maggie.
I was like, who's this
And you went for
snobbish? Who's this snobbish?
It came out so arrogant, but it came from a place
like-
where I was trying to be confident.
I was really like, not offended, but I was really intimidated. It's like I remember I went out of this interview and I was like, who does she think she is? It's like,
and that's why I thought
why is she talking to me like
nice.
that?
I must get her for the part. And how did this?
She would be my last option.
How
then
did
I
this
told them,
turn
how did I
into you
get
got
the
the
part?
part?
She was the best one.
So I can
See?
act.
See?
Thank you.
You're the best
Well,
one.
thank
It's
you.
like, so I had
Thank you.
to keep up with all this, and to just because she's an amazing actress.
Oh, thank you. No, but I have to say, honestly, I really thought like I had to do something to be confident. And I thought I was being so nice to you. And then you're
Yes,
like, you're
like-
so intimidating and arrogant. I'm like,
Yes,
okay,
yes,
maybe
yes.
my definition of
How is
nice.
nice? Yeah, I don't understand how
If
nice
that's your
is the
definition of
way-
being nice, you need to change.
But this
a lot
is
of
Maggie,
definitions.
because Maggie has an intimidating feel. That's
Yes,
how
yes.
she is. And I think that's what helped. Like, because if I could give this as me, even without
Yes, yes.
intending, it's going to
Yes.
feed my character. And
Yeah.
I worked on that. And then I found out that it was Ma Wara Tabi'a, and then the pressure hit me because I was like, what?
Did you read the books though?
Yes, I did read
You
the
read
books.
the
Yeah, of
books.
course I would
She
read
did
them.
amazing research,
No,
by the way.
I'm
Okay.
like, okay, you're a
Amazing
geek here,
research.
I'm a geek.
Double
I'm a
geek.
geek undercover. So because
Triple geek.
I would never go on set without having read the book. The second he said, books, give it them all to me. So I took like 6 books that we were doing, and then I started, and when I finished those, I started listening to the audiobooks, and it went on to other episodes and others. I was packing, I was driving, I was constantly listening to it. There was so much work to do. I didn't have a second for myself. Not 1 second. The second I knew I got this part, I'm like, okay, this is big. This is so important. I fell in love with the book. So it came from a real place. It wasn't like, this is going to make me big. This is going to make, there was nothing of that. There was like, oh my God, the material is so good. The director is so good. He's amazing as a director.
Well,
Yeah, I really need to slow clap for that.
We have to give you a
هناخد ولا
Auntie, can I tell you, I talk a lot, by the way. I might switch with you, by the way. But he's so amazing because he's the kind of director that doesn't impose his views.
Okay.
Like he says, this is what you're doing. Really, like he has a vision and it's so clear and he knows exactly what he wants. But
Yeah.
he doesn't impose it. He's like, this is how I see her. And then he allows you to come, well, this is how I feel. And then you have this discussion and then you go through the material a lot for a lot of hours. He hates me, but we went word by word. This doesn't sound like Maggie. This sounds like Maggie. Why is she doing this? Why is she coming back? Da, da, da.
Yes.
Like there were so many things that he allowed us to do as actors that created a bond of trust and of respect. So we entered, like we all entered the set. We were so bonded. Like there was trust, and we were all giving 120%. It was awesome. It
That's
was the
amazing.
best
I
experience.
actually have
This
to
is
say-
super flattering.
Yeah.
Like,
No, you're
it's
the best
first time
director I've ever worked with. I'm telling you now.
I have more flattery
Oh
for
my
you.
God.
I have more flattery for you coming your way because I was lucky enough to be.
Am I
to
blushing?
See, not yet, but you're gonna blush right now. Are you ready?
Okay. I'll do my best. not
I'm
to blush.
ready. Tell me.
Honestly, because I watched I was lucky, one of the lucky ones to have the chance to watch the first episode. And being an avid reader of the series, I have to tell you that I was watching it, half of me was like, yeah, okay, it's gonna be nice, fine, sure, but nothing will beat the book. Nothing will match the book. And the characters, because the characters in the book are, they're not read, they're felt. Like you can,
Yes.
you can predict what they're gonna do next.
Yes,
It's not that you know what they've done. You can
Yes.
actually relate to them so much that you can predict what they're gonna, because you know them, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you that when I watched the first episode, I was in shock. And I'm not saying that because it's a Netflix interview for NileFM on the series. I am dead serious right now.
I'm paying her to say this.
No, I really.
He's paying me to pay you to say this.
I am super serious. But honestly, the way that the characters were, I have no idea how closer they could have been to the feeling. It doesn't matter. It's not about like the plot or the scene itself. It's about how you feel when you see those characters come to life. There were moments when Ahmed Amin was maybe pausing, and I could see in my head the cover of the book.
Yes.
You know, like
Yes.
the cover of certain
Yes.
parts of the
Yes.
book. They just came to my mind.
Yes.
So speaking of that, on the casting, I'm sure you've been asked this a million times, but how difficult / easy / how did you make those choices? Like, how did you feel? How terrified were you? How did you make the choices? Were you sure of them? Did you change your mind in the middle of it? Did you doubt yourself? Tell me everything.
Everything.
Oh, that's a long story. But to be honest, throughout the 14 years since we acquired the rights of the books, until like 2 years ago when we started working on this show with Netflix officially, there were a lot of actors in mind before even Ahmed Amin becomes famous or we know about him. So there were, like, I think at least 6 actors I considered before. Then when we decided to make it with Netflix and we signed the contract and it became official, I was like, okay, this is it now. The person the actor I'm gonna choose now is gonna be the next Refaat Ismail. And to be honest, the best thing a director can hear from a producer or a network or a financier or anyone is like, do the best choice. Don't think about who's who, bringing celebrities, we don't care. We just want the best. So that was the best thing I heard from Netflix is like, choose whoever you think is best. And of course we were aligned all the time with the actors' choices, but Ahmed Amin, he always denies he did this call, but 5 years ago, I was offering Ahmed Amin, when he first made his first couple of videos online, I called him and I asked him to be one of the writers and actors in Saturday Night Live when I was directing the first season. So he had to decline because he was doing another show. And then he told me in the phone call, he said, listen, I know that you're doing Paranormal, you're gonna turn it into something, so if that ever happens, please consider me as an actor, I can audition for this. So that was like 5 years, I think now 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And I was like, okay. And then when it became real, I remembered this phone call and I said, okay, so I opened his videos and and I saw him, of course, on Wasiyah, which is a very successful TV show. And I said, this is it. If he loses some weight, he has the sense of humor that we can make it darker. But I can't get someone who's not a comedic or he didn't play funny roles to ask him to become this witty and this sarcastic. So I need a comedian that I can tone him down. I don't need someone who doesn't have a sense of humor.
Because you cannot acquire that.
Yes, you can't acquire a sense of humor.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So I thought of it, and then I called him and I said, Ahmed, listen, I'm considering you for the role. Can I just sit with you? And it's like, me? Are you serious now? Like, there are a lot of other better actors than me. Like, it's like,
this is very typical him. I can hear him say that.
I was like, no, Ahmed, I really want you to do the part. And that was, everyone was like, Ahmed Amin for Refaat Ismail is like, are you kidding? It's like, I was like, yeah, I see something in him. And people tell me it's a big bet, it's a bit risk. I never saw it as a bet or a risk or anything. I saw it as actually a very, very safe choice.
Seriously?
Yeah,
wow.
100%.
Because I know it's...
Can I say he's very good at... Ahmed is so good at like seeing talent in people and nurturing them. That's what he's. That's what makes you special. Like all the people that worked with him, it's as if you've been touched by the golden hand of Ahmed. Like now your career will flourish. Because every time I see like every person like that's
now I'm sounding
touched,
like
not in that way, but like touched on the shoulder by Ahmed.
A very safe touch.
A very consensual
very
touch.
Close.
Or a virtual touch at the moment, or like a social distancing touch. From
high five. It's more like a high five.
Like their career flourishes, so thanks. I'm hoping for it, so hopefully.
That's a confidence boost that I like.
No, you are. You're so good at that. It's true.
Can I tell you something about
Sure.
something that I don't know if they're gonna cut out of this interview, but I have to say this.
Oh yeah. Fine.
So when I was watching the series and the first episode, before that actually, I was watching, like I was stalking you because journalist and you're like radio presenter means you stalk people really well. And then I was like, yeah, of course she's so pretty, that girl. First of all, I have to really prepare what I look like in the interview because
really.
Yeah. And then second
she
of all,
shows up in a t-shirt and a skirt.
but honestly, I was thinking of of course, she's very good looking, and of course she's she'll land those parts. And then I watched the first episode, and of course I know that you've had other roles with international actors and in a Golden Globe winning movie. Like I know all of that background, but still,
3 times to come. What?
Say what? Can you say that? So I knew that. But honestly, when I watched you in the first episode, first, Scottish accent, you need to tell me about that. Because not everybody that is British can speak Scottish.
No.
They're two completely separate things.
Yes.
Second is that Arabic the Arabic bias Scottish.
Yeah.
That was another thing because it's so easy being fake doing that.
So did you think, was I convincing?
I was super impressed. I was
Yes,
like,
me too.
immediately I stopped seeing you as that pretty. I mean, I still saw you as pretty, but I stopped seeing that pretty
No,
side.
but actually, that's something that you never knew. But actually, when we were in the auditions, we always said about her, she's too pretty, she's too young for Maggie. Actually, because
First time I hear this.
yes,
by the way.
because
For real, you're
Maggie,
getting it exclusive.
Maggie can't look that pretty, and the other thing is like
Thank you.
Maggie supposedly was learning with Refaat Ismail in college, so she has to be his
age, yeah.
and he looks old. Even Ahmed, we made him look a bit older. So she was too young and too pretty for Maggie. She was overqualified for the role, to be honest. So we were thinking of someone who looks more realistic. She doesn't look like a real person.
That should be my ringtone. Where's
So
my
many
phone?
ringtones.
Do I have it next to me?
She looks like a
Next to me.
Vogue cover or something. So it's like
What? Okay.
that was my brief to the makeup art department. It's like we need to
Make her
Make her
ugly.
ugly. Which is why they're like, put the
Seriously.
wig on and throw like they used to
Seriously.
sprinkle like the texture of
make
my
her look
skin
more,
changed.
make her look
Nice.
more Scottish, make her look more white, make her look more
Ugly.
The freckles,
more
yeah.
real, not ugly, but more real.
Ugly.
Because especially that Maggie is a scientist at the end of the day, so
Yeah.
she can't look like a
supermodel.
Like a supermodel.
Yeah.
So that was the thing. Yeah, even like I remember one of my very best friends, and he's a filmmaker as well, and he came to my house, and he watched bits and pieces. Yeah, and he was like, he came to the house and he looked at her, and then he's like, "Who's that girl?" And I was like, "She's Maggie. She's the same one who's playing Maggie." Yes, she doesn't look like her at all. I bet if she walks in the street after the
one's gonna
series
know
is
me.
out,
Amazing.
a lot of people will not know
not
that she's
recognize.
the
Which is
same
amazing.
person.
It's awesome because that's a downfall of being recognized.
And that's the most of the characters in the film. Like when they see them in the streets, they will not know easily that they are the same people they saw in the series, because the makeup department did an amazing job. Like literally, Donia and Islam, Alex and Menna and all of the others, they made amazing job with turning the actors into the characters.
Yeah,
it
it's
was
true.
not just makeup to make you look good or fix the problems or anything. It was just makeup to turn the actors into the characters.
And that's what helped us get into it.
Yes.
So the second we would wear the wigs, the costume, and we start walking and talking like them, it's as if you are entering another universe. And then you're just so focused, nothing mattered. That's what helped me get through this.
Yeah.
If I were thinking, oh my God, it's on Netflix. Oh my God, this is iconic. Oh my God, what are people gonna think? I would have not been able to go on set. There was so much to do, and it was such a challenging, like the locations, everything that we were doing was so challenging that you had to stay focused. You can't give importance to things you can't control. The only thing I can control is me and how I act, and hopefully not offending Scotland.
Yeah, but actually our costume designer Dina Nadim, she's half Scottish, and she was very happy with the accent. And also we have from Netflix team.
And she has natural red hair.
Yes, and the Netflix team, we had as Scottish people in the Netflix team. They were watching the dailies and they were very happy with her accent.
Her accent was fantastic.
Yes.
Super difficult. Now, speaking of the set, because you just talked about on-set stuff.
Yeah.
Now, I'm a fan of horror, and I want to ask you about your horror influences as well. But usually there are always those stories about when you shoot something that is of that genre, that like the weirdest things happen on set.
Yeah.
Like on the set of Exorcist, weird stuff happened to the girl, and you know, did you get any of those weird, terrifying stories?
I don't get terrified easily.
Obviously,
He has to face me all the time. I'm joking.
I don't like. Same as the beginning of the series, I'm like Refaat Ismail in the beginning of this. I don't believe in the paranormal whatsoever. I'm a very, very realistic, skeptical person who's very scientific. I don't believe in anything that's paranormal. I know that's contradicting to the show completely.
But I love it because that's Refaat Ismail.
Yes, but I'm really skeptical. Whenever somebody told me we just see a ghost, it's like most probably a cat. So it's like like all of the cast who used to and the crew came to me is like, even the DP himself, Ahmed Bishari Shiko, hi Shiko, he used to always come to me is like, this place is haunted, it's just so like this and that, and it's like I saw 2 people who died 10 years ago. It's like, man, this is all. It's like, I'm not a believer in the supernatural.
Hi, ghost, what's up?
And now you're making me look bad. So I guess you know my answer.
I swear to God, whenever my brother, when we were kids, was like telling me, oh, it seems like there's a ghost in here. It's like, I really want to meet a ghost. I will be super starstruck if I see a ghost. It's like, I really want to talk to a ghost.
Can I have your autograph, please? Photo, selfie.
Yes.
B-O-O, boo.
Yes. I want to ask him about the experience, how he turned into a ghost, to make an interview with them. It's like,
Maybe get them for cast them for the next series.
Yes, it's a good part for the research, you know. So it's like, I'm actually like super excited about meeting a ghost.
He's thinking about research when he's like, who does that?
But I actually think I have a ghost now in my room. Like nothing was happening on set,
Give him
but
my
now,
number?
no, I will and I'll ask him where my belt is because I entered the hotel room, my belt was there, then it's gone. So
No.
it's like I keep asking for like, can you give it back now? He's like, no, I'm keeping it because it's stylish.
Yeah.
I'm like,
And ask him
no.
about all my socks.
And my hair ties as well.
Oh, hair ties, yes, definitely. And bobby pins, they're gone.
Yeah, I call them juju. It's juju.
So speaking about terrifying things, what was the most terrifying episode to shoot?
I think it's episode 5 by far, the Incubus, the legend of the Incubus, because it was so technically challenging, and the most terrifying thing to any director is that the sun's going down and it still have like 5 scenes to shoot. That's more terrifying than a ghost or like a monster or anything. And especially with El Gathum or the Incubus episode, it's technically challenging. Half of the things happening are gonna be put later in the post. There was a lot of, literally, I remember there was one scene that we had to make around 7 meetings with all the heads of departments for. It's like they really don't understand what I want. It's like, and what I want is I can't find a reference for it online.
Okay.
And we had to draw a lot of like concept designs and concept art just to try to communicate what I want in that scene. And it was so technically challenging. And even when we were shooting that scene, the day was a real horror because it's putting a lot of people in blood, fake blood.
Oh, wow.
And
A lot of
it's-
people?
Yes.
Okay.
and
I
it's
wasn't there, so.
freezingly cold, and literally we can't get enough heaters for them. It's like really cold. Heaters do nothing. It's a very big soundstage. So it was a very challenging episode, and especially that Ahmed Amin used to do a lot of stunts work. He used to be like hanged with wires, doing a lot of acting and action with wires. And we had an amazing stunt girl. And that's interesting because I really want people, when they watch this episode and when they watch the monster, the Incubus, the person behind the Incubus is a girl, and she's a ballet dancer. We had to get a very special artist to do the movement of the Incubus. And she's a girl, and she's amazing. And she used to be like hanged literally for the whole 12 hours of the shoot. And she did an amazing one. And she's very decent and a smart girl, but she's like wearing the
most terrifying.
Yes, the most terrifying like mask ever.
Ballerina in a terrifying mask.
Yes, and she used to come to me and is like,
I didn't know
whenever she
that.
comes to anyone, it's like, and she's like, just, Ustaz am I doing this right? It's like, anything you do is right.
Just go!
Just go.
Leave me alone and go!
And I remember she's like, one of the days she took off her mask, and after we wrapped, I was going to my car, and she was like, and she came to me, can I have a photo with you? It's like, oh, of course, but who are you? She was like, I'm the one who was angry. For like 3 days. Like, how would I know? She was like, literally nothing is seen from her. She's the
Oh my
scariest
God.
thing I've ever
It is
seen. in my life.
scary.
Yes.
Okay, now I can't wait to see that episode.
Yeah, that episode is the most challenging, and I remember it's like trying to do it in budget and in time was the most terrifying thing ever, because every day you go to the set, you see the set, you see all the requirements, you see all the technicalities, and it's like, this day will never be finished. It's like, this episode will need 3 months to shoot. And it's like, but we made it on time. We made it somehow in budget.
Somehow, budget. I love that.
Kind of in budget, just to be accurate. It was a technical achievement for all the departments.
Yeah.
They all did amazing work. Even the production designer had literally to do like, he's an inventor, literally. He did a lot of amazing ideas to make this happen. And the makeup and of course the costume design and the actors. Ahmed Amin used to like act the whole episode without knowing what he's acting with. So that was amazing.
That's so difficult.
But we were filming in really difficult locations, and we were always chasing something, chasing the sun. Because we were doing night shoots, we were chasing the sun. The difficult, like I wasn't ever afraid on set or having like very grim stuff. But I was in a difficult situation. Like for me, having like the most important like lines to deliver to Refaat, like a very important scene, and then the sun's coming up, so they're like, "You have one take, go!" And then like I would be there since like 1 p.m. and then it would be like 5 a.m. the next day, and then it's the line that I have been rehearsing and I didn't get to say it. So I would be like, I'm so disappointed in myself, and then Ahmed would be like, "Don't be, you were great," and I didn't. Like I did trust you, but I didn't believe him. And then I would watch the scene. I was like, okay, Amr, he was right. So this is how I started to trust Amr a lot. And for me, like, do I tell her about episode 6? There's like, without like,
don't spoil it.
Oh, okay. So there was just like an important time where I was supposed to be floating. Like, no, it is like ruining it, so I can't say anything.
But I can tell you
it was very difficult, and I cried.
Yeah. You cried.
And I heard her in the headphones.
Was it because it was physically
It was a very
difficult?
emotional scene to start with.
Okay.
Let me tell you what I told her before she starts to act this scene.
Okay.
Literally, this scene is almost the finale of the show. Okay.
Okay.
That is season.
Oh my God.
So this scene is really important. And I told her, listen, Razane, you're gonna act this scene, but you're not you. You're someone else. Who's that person? And you are in a ring of fire, real fire, and you will be floating above ground, and you will be somehow crying but without tears, and you're gonna deliver all this information and all these lines in Arabic, Egyptian Arabic, not your Arabic, and with the sound of someone else.
And you have one take, probably, because there was no time.
It was not one take.
We did 2.
We
only did 2.
3.
We did 1, I cried, we did the second.
I mean,
and you cried, and then we took the third.
given the circumstances,
I have the footage.
3 is fine.
So, 3 is really fine. And
Given all what he just said, 3.
I was
but
so
this
upset.
this
my
scene
God,
like
it's
this
so hard.
can take like 15 takes. So even if we did 3 is not enough.
Yeah, because there's pressure.
It's really technically challenging. And she is wired, literally.
And I'm floating, and I have to be on the tip of my toes, pretending to
all
do
the
this
time.
while doing all the rest.
And she's acting in literally a ring of fire that's only like 3 meters, which is very, very small. So there's fire all around her.
kidding
and
me?
she's hearing all the things burning in the set, and it's really, really technically challenging. This is literally the hardest thing I ever said to an actor in my entire life. In my 15, 17 years of directing, I never asked someone to do something that hard in my life. Yeah.
And you're saying that you weren't terrified? Come on, this is the most terrifying thing I've ever heard.
True that.
Each
like
one of
not
them is like
terrified of
terrifying.
paranormal, terrified of other stuff.
And believe me, when I watched the scene, I understood how amazing she is, because this can break anyone. It's like literally, as a director, you have to make the actors believe that what you're asking from them is normal,
No, thank
even
you.
if you know that it's totally abnormal. But I have to act as if this is cool. You know, you don't have to make them panic.
This is really interesting.
Yeah.
Because did you have any of your own breakdowns that they don't know about?
Every day, every 5 minutes.
Did you have one of those
He
moments
would
where you felt
announce
like,
it. I'm having a
the
big
hardest
breakdown.
one, the hardest one that you remember that you felt like, you know what, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow, I'm not gonna do this anymore. Did you have any of those moments?
No.
Today, it's like
Right now.
Press day.
one of the job description of a director is never show people how chaotic it is, never show people how messed up your brain is right now, never show them how tired you are right now, never show them how you're not in control whatsoever right now. You have to always to project being confident, being in control, knowing what all the problems are, like you're confident that all the problems will be fixed. You have to make them believe that you're balanced all the time, which is not true at all. I remember like in this series, especially in this shoot, I was the happiest in my entire life, to be honest. I was like directing this as if I'm my 10 years old self. It's like I'm the same kid who read the first book of the series 27 years ago. But at the same time, because of all the challenges, all the constraints, all the circumstances, at times you really lose it. And you can't show anybody that you're losing it.
No, he doesn't. I used to call him, I call you direttore because he reminds me of a Fellini film where he's like 8.5, he's a director going to all the women's and he's playing it cool and it never shows.
I don't go to all the women.
No, not that way, not that way.
You're ruining my imagination.
I'm talking about Fellini, the movie. 8.5, not you, but direttore, he has the feel like Daniel Day-Lewis played the other version. Like, come on, Daniel Day-Lewis.
Come on, Italian
So he goes
accent.
like, because he's always like, he's suave, like he goes on set, it's like, it's happening. And the set, like we were a team, like, you know, like people, you come together when it's like a difficult situation. It's like the boat is sinking, you're all together, or you're doing, we were all moving in the same direction. And we were all in very difficult circumstances, but the passion for what we were doing, the attachment to the text, the happiness, the sheer happiness of coming and waking up every day and going on set. I was happy. I knew I was going to suffer, but I was very happy because I loved it. I actually loved it. This is the best experience in my life.
Oh, wow.
No words can stress that enough.
That is unbelievable.
Direttore.
That's unbelievable. Like, seriously. Now I feel like I want to watch it even more. And maybe, like,
3 times.
I would like to go back in time and come and see the set and see what you guys are doing.
I'm a bad actress. No, you're not. I'm so bad. I didn't do it the way I wanted.
Actually,
It happened every day.
on that, because I know that I've been watching like a lot of the interviews that you've done, and then there was a documentary that you were talking where you were talking about how long ago did you sit in Tanta?
With Ahmed Khaled Tawfiq?
Yes.
Yeah, that was in Cairo. He came from Tanta. We met in April 2006. Just 14 years ago.
Wow.
Yes.
14 years ago.
But lucky
years
you,
ago.
honestly, wow, what an honor.
I know. I mean, I wanted to, first of all, I wanted to ask you, why did it take you that long? And also, I know that in the documentary, you talked about changing the character of Refaat Ismail to a completely different kind of person, and then going back to in this decision.
Yes.
So can you tell me a little bit about that, and then I'm going to ask you something else that I also have in mind.
It took that long because I was so adamant not to make it a Ramadan show. Because Ramadan, a lot of stories can fit for a Ramadan show, but Ramadan show for this series, it can never be a Ramadan show because each episode cannot, it will be, first of all, very expensive to turn 30 books into 30 episodes. And it will really harm the books to make one story into like 5 episodes, to divide one book into 5 episodes or 7 episodes or whatever. So it didn't fit the structure and the format of Ramadan show. And nobody will put all this budget in a show that's not for the high season, the prime season. No, off season, you can't put all this money in an off season show. So it was too expensive for the market. That's one thing. The second thing is, to be really honest, before Dr. Ahmed Khaled Tawfiq passed away, people were not aware of his success and his brilliance and his fans and his impact. So when he died, I remember even the TV announcers and all like the important people in the country was like, who is this person that all these young people are sad for? And that was like a reintroduction to Dr. Ahmed Khaled Tawfiq to a lot of readers who never heard about him before he died. So after he passed away, the interest came back, and everybody, all of a sudden, everybody was like, yeah, we're willing to do this. We're willing to do this, internally and in the region. And then I thought like, no, still I don't have the best circumstances to do the show in the way that I would be proud of. So I remember I just went to LA and I went and knocked on Netflix doors. And it's like, I met one of the heads of Netflix, and I was like, listen, just do this and you will get a lot of subscribers. There's a lot of people waiting for this, and there's that. And then we started the discussion, and maybe a year and a half later, we started having a more serious discussion when we signed the show.
Wow, a year and a half.
Yeah.
How many people, when you told them around you, did they doubted this or had their, feeling like, started telling things like, no, maybe you shouldn't do that, or did you get any of that, or people were supportive?
Like all the people who knew the books, they were always like, it makes perfect sense to turn this into a show. It's like we all the people who knew the books were like, how come they still didn't make a show about this? But all the people who didn't know the books, they were like, no way, horror doesn't work. Horror always turned into something that's funny. Egyptian people will laugh at anything that tries to be horror, or like people were like very skeptical who didn't know the books. But those who read the books and the fans of the books was like always like, when are you going to do this? When are you going to? I remember being stopped in the street for the last 14 years in my life. It's like people always stopping me in the street. When are we going to see Mawad Tabi'a? When are we going to see Paranormal? So it was either you're a fan, so you believe in it, or either you're not a fan, so you think that has no future at all.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Now, I know, speaking of horror, because I know we were talking a little bit before the show, and you were telling me about your favorite roles, and one was Imbratoriyat Min, right?
Yeah.
So first, tell me about why this was your favorite, and then tell me how you felt about being in a horror series, and how did that?
This doesn't look too much like a horror, is it? It's like a thriller suspense as well. It's not like the gory horror, right? Am I wrong
gory
to say
sounded
that?
very Scottish. I just had to tell you
I
right
know.
now.
You know what? It was so hard doing the Scottish while I was filming, and then suddenly I found myself in London going like talking in Scottish. I'm like, now it comes naturally. I worked day and night on it, and then it was like, she's like top of the morning. No, that's Irish.
Top of the morning to you.
No, that's Irish. No, but I was like, Gee.
All right. So what did
for the first time, like I didn't repeat this 20 times. I'm joking. I actually had 2 dialect coaches. They didn't know about each other.
Now they do.
Because I'm so sorry, Lindsay and Vinny. I love you both, but I didn't want to tell you about each other
issues.
because
now you understand
they didn't
how
have
big
enough
the trust
time.
issues are.
And then Vinny would tell me, "Why is your voice gone?" I'm like, "I got a cold." He's like, "What have you been doing? Are you been training?" I'm like, "I've been practicing a lot," because I would hang up with him, practice with Lindsay, hang up with Lindsay, practice with him, because I was so panicked. I'm like, what am I gonna do? And then there's like all these exercises, and I would do this thing where I would go on to like 1, 2, 3, 4, just to get the voice placement before every scene. So by the end of the show, everybody was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I would do like all these like the voice like warm-ups. There's like a tube that you blow into a bottle of water just to strengthen your vocal cords and open them up.
Wow.
And there's another steam thing that I would walk around with, and it was so cold sometimes my voice would go like that, and it would be so difficult to get the accent. So I would have to force it to get to that that voice placement.
That is
it was
really
actually
tough.
really hard.
I was just about to say that it sounds a lot tougher than I can imagine walking around set like with bottles and steamy stuff
and then I would have like the hot water bottle because I would be cold all the time. Like I was watching like the episodes, and I'm like, oh, I had a water bottle here. It was on my feet. It was next to me. I would have like a sweater like now on my feet. I would have like another one while I'm acting.
I've never seen anybody who prepares more than Razane in my life. Like,
it's insane. Like what
she's insane. She's insane. She's totally insane, and she's like always like doing not the extra mile, the extra 1 million mile. Like literally, she's going far. Sometimes I really feel for her. It's like no, Razane, just like,
chill.
Don't be hard. I'm hard on myself, like you know the samurai, like like this is how hard I'm. Like no person that can criticize me is gonna put me down.
Look at her. Look at that.
Harder than I criticize myself.
Yeah,
like the way I criticize myself, like if I do a scene and it's not the way I want, there's like I have failed. I don't deserve. I am not worthy.
Very dramatic.
Yeah, I'm extra. It's like Razane, extra dramatic Jammal. It's like it's an occupational hazard. I'm an actor.
I love it though.
Imagine I weren't though. That would be.
We will
scary.
be having an interview, me and you, 5 years from now.
Yeah.
And we will be talking about her doing a Marvel like superhero, and we will be like, remember when we like
when we were sitting with
her?
You know what? I know this girl, and we had like went and picked up some chocolate.
Thank you so much. I did pick up some chocolate.
She will be like, and we will be tweeting her and mentioning her, and she will be like,
She was like, I don't know these people.
Fans.
Fans.
Talk to my manager.
I would never be like
Talk
that.
to my manager. Yeah, it's like we can't do it.
But I have a special attachment to Egypt. I have to say, I love Egypt. I love it so much. I love the Egyptian people. I love the language. I love this country that keeps on giving.
I also know that you have a little bit of Egypt in your
I do.
family.
I have the tattoo that I did when I was 15 years old.
15, wow.
Yeah, I didn't know
Why
I was
did you
here.
get that tattoo?
Why? Do you want to know why? Okay,
Yeah,
so
kind
very-
of.
Do you want me to say what? She knows why.
We don't talk about tattoos because they always have a story with an ex.
No, so there's an ex. It's true that we left each other, and I think
Was he Egyptian?
loved him.
I mean,
no,
why
he wasn't Egyptian.
Okay.
But he wore it, and my dad wore it as well. So we broke up. It was like to show him that I still loved him. And then I saw my dad, and my mom said, "No tattoo." And I'm like, "Dad." He's like, "Okay, I'll get it with you." And I'm like, "Yes, Dad, it's for you," because he wore it too. So my dad has the same tattoo.
Oh, your dad wore the.
He has the same one, and when we do this, it's the same. But he thinks it's for him, but it was originally for someone else.
Now he
Believe me,
knows
if he's
again.
listening to this and he's not Brad Pitt, he's really regretting leaving you.
There's a lot of people now that know a lot of things now.
No, I think he saw it because once I bumped into him, I was like,
Yeah.
and he just ignored it. I'm like, okay, fine, what a waste of tattoo. But my parents got married
Now
here.
he will do the same one.
Your parents got
Now he
married
would like
here.
that too. My parents got married here. My parents lived here. My
Really?
grandparents from both sides were here. And I never knew about this. And even after I did Imbratoriyat Meen, no one told me. It was like, my mom threw it like that. It's like my mom is like a movie buff, and she never told me. I'm like, Mom, I'm an actor. She's like, you develop your own passions. I'm not going to influence you. I'm like, Mom, but you can
That's
tell
how her
me.
mom talks.
And she's the one, no, she's like, sure, my mom talks like this. No. She's like, and she knows everybody. And I'm like, Mom, great, give me your list. She's like, okay, Fellini did this film. And then there's this film from this guy. And there's like my mom, like after, like way into my career. And in the beginning, she didn't want me to even act. Now she's, I'm like, now.
She didn't want you to act.
She didn't want me to act. She was overprotective.
Okay.
Like, she's the one who forced me to be a geek. She's like, go to your room and study. Like, it was never like, oh, my pretty baby, you're so pretty. She was like, go study. So, and now I'm happy. It's like, I'm not conceited, just a little bit. But not as much as I would have been if my mom would have been like, Binti, Habibti, Inti, Binti. I never got that, by the way. And people think I do.
Yeah.
So they're extra mean to me sometimes because they think that I have that tone. Like, no, I go to my family, everybody makes fun of me all the time. I'm like, Razane, and like they say like the most embarrassing stories. And I'm like, why? Can I go back to the set? Can I go back to the set and have people say that you're incredible, makeup, beautiful.
Amazing.
Yeah, but Masr is important to me.
Yeah.
And Imbratoriyat Meen is also my favorite character. One of my favorite characters. Another one.
But
because she's comedy. Did you watch her?
Maggie is
She's the polar opposite. Like she's very like she's alive. She's manipulative. She keeps changing grounds. She just does whatever is good for her. And she was like very ghetto. I loved her. It was like I was wearing leopard print all the time.
I have to see this. To see the switch.
Yeah.
Now, speaking about Egypt and Egyptian culture and horror and the way that this is also, it's made for Netflix for the rest of the world. I mean, personally, I find Arabic horror to be most terrifying. Maybe because I am Egyptian, so then it feels more real to me, and because we're all superstitious in this side of the world. But
we have ghosts in Scotland too.
Yeah, we have ghosts in
You're not
Scotland
Scottish.
too.
You're not Scottish.
That's what Maggie said.
But what I wanted to ask you is, how did you find that balance to create an Arabic feeling series with international appeal? How difficult was it to strike the balance? Do you feel like you were able to? Because I watched the first episode and I kind of feel it, like the countryside shot. I've never, when you think about it, horror in the countryside of Egypt is horrific.
Yeah.
And it's, anyways, I don't want to.
You gave me the chills.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that, like the balance.
I think one of the biggest fears that we all had in the writing room, me and all the writers that were writing with me, Mahmoud Izzat and Dina Meher and Omar Khalid and Amina, is like, are people gonna laugh? Like I remember watching a couple of Egyptian trials of films, and I was like, people were literally laughing in the theater. I remember I went to a theater watching a film that's supposedly a horror film, and actually I liked it, but I was here because the Egyptian audience are so tough. So it's like I was sitting in the screen and people were literally laughing all the time, and I was like, if I'm the director, I'm gonna hang myself right now. It's the worst thing ever is to try to do a horror film or something that's so serious and finding people laughing at you. So that was the nightmare that we all had in the waiting room. So I went back to the history of cinema. It's like, what makes horror believable? What makes it, what makes the audience suspend their disbelief.
Yeah.
So it was very hard. I hope it works.
It will.
Now.
It works. It does.
It was really, really hard because the books had all the crazy ideas.
Yeah.
And if you don't write them well, if you don't make believable characters, believable settings, believable situations, believable drama, people will not be afraid. And it's about that. It's not making about best visual effects or the best jump scares. It's about making believable characters, believable drama first, and then people can forgive anything else.
True.
So it's about making the right characters and the right drama. The acting has to be very believable, because if you are with me together, yeah, we can get scared. But if you're not with me and you're not immersed into the story, you'll see anything as fake.
True.
So it was all about the drama and the characters first. And that's why we love the series so much, because of Refaat Ismail. Whatever he meets and finds, we will not laugh. That's one thing. The second trick we used, this is a very secretive ingredient.
Okay.
It's like to make the character skeptical more than the audience.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's all about making the audience, asking the character to believe in this.
That there's really
Yes.
something to be scared of.
Yes,
Yeah,
because the
that's so
character
true.
himself doesn't believe it. So I have to make the character skeptical than the most skeptical member of the audience. So it's all about making the characters believes last. So the audience would be the ones who are pushing the character. Believe it, he's right in front of you. Believe it, he was just next to you. So it's all about having the skeptical voice inside the drama that makes the audience actually go insane about him. How can you not believe all of this?
Yes.
So the character now, the audience now are the ones asking him to believe, not
believe.
the opposite. Not
Yeah.
we asking the characters, the audience to believe.
Yeah.
I love that. That's super interesting.
That's
Did I
one of
hear?
the
No, I
secret
didn't hear.
ingredients.
Yeah, that's so amazing. But what's beautiful is that the books and everything are really rooted in Egyptian folk tale, and that's the
Yes.
beautiful opportunity that we have to show it on an international platform. Because
Oh, yeah.
Netflix is a platform with a lot of different people from different nationalities with different stories, but a lot of times you can relate to those stories. And what's beautiful is that you're going to share an Arab culture with the rest of the world, and that's something that's special in itself. Let's say
and a
whether
lot
it's
of
successful or
pressure.
not. I don't think about that way.
Really?
If I do, I won't be able to walk or get out of the
True.
bed
Yeah.
in the morning. If you're constantly thinking about people, what they're going to say, there's so much pressure in our job as it is.
Yeah.
As it is. Like imagine adding the layer of what are people going to think?
Of course, and,
My
and
inner
the
saboteur
responsibility,
and,
like I don't know, like the responsibility towards the late Dr. Ahmed Khalid Tawfi,
Yes.
and the
Yeah.
responsibility that this is going as the first Egyptian original
Yes.
programming
but that's what
from
gave us
Netflix,
team.
and it's going to be out there in the world. You know,
That's amazing.
This is a lot of stuff to be terrified of and proud of at the
So
same
you
time.
do it two
I'm
things.
terrified.
You either use it as a steam
Yeah.
or you make it paralyzes you. So we
True.
were all either going to be paralyzed and not work, or we're going to use it
Yes.
to blow us together and propel us
Yes.
forward. And which it did. It really did. I feel it like that. There was an energy. This was a dream team. There's a
Yeah.
special energy that I've never found anyone else in the world, ever. And in Egypt as well. It's so special to me. I love it.
هنلعب لعبة هتخليك معايا على طول استغمية حاجة زي كده
Now, speaking of the late Dr. Ahmed Khalid Tawfi, which, if you have the chance for him to see one of the episodes, just one, which one would you want to show? Which episode?
Interesting. We never heard this one.
Yeah.
Finally.
No, actually, this is
A lot of
very-
questions we didn't
a very
hear.
fresh, a very fresh interview. The freshest interview. No, again, episode 6. Yeah, I always say that this is my favorite episode.
Guess who?
No, it's
No.
6. The episode 6 was the as if it's the sequel to the first episode, which is the house.
Oh, okay.
So we call it the Return of the House.
The Return of the
There was
House, yes.
no book about that. It's half, like more than half of the episode is made up by us. So it's written by us, and that's especially one of the things we decided to make since we started writing this is like having the last episode as a very out of the box episode. All the readers would not expect it. So it's something that's somehow more created by us. and I really wish that Dr. Ahmed Khair Tawfiq would be alive to watch this series, episode, because I was like, I really want to hear his validation.
Get his feedback.
Yes,
Yeah.
I want his validation. I want him to tell me like, yes, as if I was alive and I would have written this. So yeah, that's the episode I wanted to show him the most.
And find out if there's a real Maggie in his life, and find out if she's out there in Scotland watching that. I didn't walk like that. She's a little liar, that one. Little one, like with the Scottish
Was that?
It's not me.
Let's hope no Scottish people will hear this.
I hope no Scottish person is gonna watch. No, I want him to watch, but I want them to be like, oh yeah, she's pretty good. Like, I want them to be cool with me, like, yeah, it's a tough accent. Actually,
She did well, that girl. That laugh.
A wee bit like us. A wee bit. Yeah, it's parts of the accent. It's gonna come back to me if there's a season 2.
Now,
If there's
okay.
a season 2. I wanted to actually, sorry.
Yeah,
to
go ahead. No,
interrupt.
go ahead.
This summer, I had planned to go sit in Scotland. Like, as much like you say, I'm a nerd. I wanted to go hang out and stay for like a month there. Just to, in case there's a season 2, that I'm one step ahead this time in terms of the accent.
That would be awesome.
But I didn't get to do that because of Corona, so.
Oh, but you never know.
So
I mean, first of all, I wanted to ask about what comes next. So we don't know yet if there's a season 2.
I think it's up to the viewers.
Yes.
Oh, then I'm sure there's
So,
a season 2.
you write Dear Mr. Netflix,
Signing up.
we would like to see a season 2.
Okay, I'm preparing the email right now. Where's my phone? I saw the first episode, and the first thing that I wanted to do is click on next episode.
Really?
Yeah, I really wanted to, and there was
Yeah.
no next episode.
There will be after
Well,
tomorrow.
it's
Yeah.
oh my god.
There will be after 36 hours.
How'd
Yes.
you feel about that? About the fact that it's going to be out in 2 days?
I'm switching off my phone.
It's
It's interesting to know what you're going to be doing.
I'm on another set.
I believe me, I'll be in the bathroom. 100%. The thing is, it's like, you know, all the scenes when you watch like an American film, and there's the scene where like the kids, they grow up so fast, and now they're going to college, you're gonna leave them to the world.
Yeah.
It's exactly what I feel now. Like, this baby has been living with me for almost 27 years, and now like 14 years trying to make it, and now 3 years making it. And now it's not gonna be mine anymore. It's gonna be like there for the world. It's gonna go out and go to college or get married or whatever. So it doesn't just belong to me now. It belongs to everyone.
Yeah.
And it's like, it never belonged to me anyways. But I mean, like, I was part of making it. Now it's done. So it's gonna be
Out there.
Yes, and there will be a distance now between us. So it's like the same distance to anybody else's. So it's scary.
To break that attachment.
Of course, and I remember hearing Alejandro Iñárritu is one of my favorite directors talking about post-project depression, and it's like after each project there's a phase of depression, and this phase, I'm really scared of this phase because it happened to me after every project. That's why I'm shooting another film now, just not to focus on the depression of leaving the project or ending the project.
Because it's like a baby. It's like the
yes.
baby blues.
Exactly.
It's like, but it's
the baby
literally
blues.
baby
Yes.
blues.
Yes, it's literally the baby blues.
It is. Like, you do what
Yes.
you got to do, then it flies. Like,
Oh, that's so
Yes.
difficult.
Yes. يعني مش عايزة-
You're not like kicking it off a ledge.
You can-
This is getting you like falling off a ledge. You know what I mean?
Now it's flying.
So I wish that the audience would be merciful.
Yeah.
I wish the audience will not be so hard on
That's
us.
Dr. Refaat speaking.
Yeah, because I know that I will be reading, like, even if I decided, even if I like chain myself to the bed, I know I will be reading every tweet, I will be reading every
Really?
post, I will be reading.
Oh yeah, because
Like,
he's on social a lot. I know nothing
yeah,
that's
I'm a
happening.
nerd,
Really?
I'm a
Ever.
geek, yeah, I'm
I don't know.
so attached to my phone, I'm so stuck to my screen, and it's like I know, like, every meme, every comment, every tweet, every picture, like, I know that I'll be following all of that, and I know that's not healthy, but at the same time, I know that I'm super anxious to know how will people react to this.
Can I tell you how they're going to react? They're going to love it.
They're gonna
I have
love
to be
it,
honest,
so-
they're going to fall in love with Refaat.
They're gonna fall in
They're
love with
going to
the whole thing.
adore Refaat
Yeah.
because he was born to play this part. They're going to adore you as director in terms, even if it's
I
not
wanna
like
tell you
the
a secret.
cinematography.
I want to tell you a secret. It's like, I remember the first time I spoke with Ahmed Sharkawi, his an executive in Netflix, and I was like telling him, if this doesn't turn into another like turned to Egypt as Casa de Papel made in Spain and Dark in Germany, and if this doesn't put Egypt on the map of TV drama, then I didn't succeed enough. So it's like
Oh, so you're setting the bar very
I
high.
got goosebumps.
Yeah.
I have to tell you.
Yeah, I really want this to be our introduction to
the world.
TV industry. I know I have too high expectations, but I still believe that it's not because we made a good show. It's because the books were really good, and I really think
It's
that
the combo as well.
yes, but the books were like deserve this.
Yes.
Deserve to be
Yes.
translated and deserve
Yeah.
to travel and deserve to be known around the world, because the amount of stories he has in 82 books is more than any other book series I read in my life in any other country.
It's very
Yeah, yeah.
true.
Nobody
Like,
did
Yeah.
this amazing,
Yes.
all these amazing ideas in just, like nobody made this like Ahmed Khalid Tawfiq. I can assure you in the entire world. Yeah.
I completely agree. Being a fan of the books, I completely agree, but I also think it's the combo. Like after
Yeah.
seeing it, it's brilliant. Like everything about it, like the
Yes.
casting and the cinematography, the production,
Yeah,
everything is
because
about
we have
it.
so much talent locally, and it's
True.
finally amazing that it's being pushed forward and to kind of bridge the gap between the East and the West.
True.
Finally, because you always have someone that's not necessarily Arab playing an Arab, and we have so much talent here, and you always ask, so if we have Arabs and there's plenty of us, why isn't one of us over there?
True, very
And
true.
that's what's beautiful about this, is like, there's good quality things coming out of the Middle East, and I know with all my heart that they're gonna love it. There's no
hope so.
doubt about
Me
it.
neither.
I'm Team
Me
Hawaii,
neither.
by the way, but my best friend and I watched the first episode together. She's like, she's really nice. I'm like, yeah, she's really nice. Like, I kind of like her more than I like Maggie. She's like, shh, don't tell anyone. It's like, we were both like rooting for Hawaii, and Hawaii was rooting for Maggie.
Poor Maggie.
So that's what's sweet. But we were both rooting for Refaat, which is
Yeah, true.
I fell in love, and like even watching him and seeing the things he did that when I wasn't there, I was like, oh, he's a really good actor, and I had no doubt about that. But it was like it confirmed it, and the quality of the whole thing, it's amazing.
It is.
I know it is. With all my heart, I know it's happening.
Me too. I support that. I'm so sure that it's going to be that. Would you ever consider, though, if there is a season 2 or a season 3 or season 4, 5, and 6, ever having an international superstar like A-lister to join the show?
To play Maggie? What's that?
Are you thinking of replacing Maggie? 'Cause, you know, she's a little bit loud, and that's kind of.
But that's not how I play Maggie. That's why when now you see me and then you see Maggie, you're like, oh no, she really can't act.
Yes!
Because it's not me at all.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
She was literally jumping in the room like we were going upside down. Never mind, it's not for camera. We'll talk about it later.
It's like for the energy, to get back energy, because we're tired. I told her, I'm tired. She's like, inversions, because we love yoga, so whatever. Moving on.
So would you ever consider having an international?
Considering, of course, but it's all about how successful the first season is.
Yeah.
How big of a budget we can have in later seasons.
Yeah.
So of course the
Netflix people.
Of course,
Make it
depending
rain.
on- I would love like one day to have a superstar playing one of the roles. Of course. Yeah, that's the dream.
An Arab superstar. من هنا لبرا لا.
All our like how to say this, but I think.
What's that?
I think this show deserves, like, if it becomes successful enough, I think it can, because the books still have a lot of characters that are not introduced yet in the first season.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of characters that are from other countries. Like there's an American, a very famous character who's an American in the books, another one who's Russian, and another one who's Asian.
From Scotland, there's a story there. It would be
Scotland,
awesome
there
to
will be a
go
lot of
there.
Yeah,
Scottish
there is
actors as
one,
well.
yeah.
It's one of my favorites as well.
So that's why I
the
think
Loch Ness, right?
there's-
Yeah, you know what I'm
Loch
talking
Ness. Wash it behind. So I think, yeah, there's a room for foreign actors in the later seasons, yes.
All right, I can go on forever, honestly. I'm having too much
too.
fun in this interview.
Believe me, we are having so much fun compared to a lot of
Listen, it's been a long week. Let's just put it that way.
yeah.
I think we're going to continue this interview off camera,
Yes.
maybe
yes.
over dinner. But anyways,
Molokhia?
Mahshi. So the time has come for me to wrap this up. So first of all, I would like to really thank you, the both of you, for being here and to answering all these questions and telling us so honestly about everything.
Thank you,
and
Sarah.
a very big congrats on what's about to happen. I've seen it. I'm lucky. I'm one of the ones that's seen the first episode. I can't wait for the launch, and I know it's going to be a massive success. So to be honest, I'm just proud. I'm a proud Egyptian because this is going out to the world.
Thank you so much for having an interview, and I think all interviews should be like that.
Oh.
It would be so much more fun, honestly, for me at least. Yeah.
Thank you so much, and good luck.
you.
And I hope to see a sneak peek of season 2 when you start shooting. I'm coming on set.
Yes, we'll invite on set, but
Yes.
come without your cameras. and
No
without
cameras,
your
just me.
phones.
No,
Yes,
no
okay.
phones. Okay.
Deal.
Just a small ghost photos.
You know, we
selfie.
weren't allowed to take any pictures. It was like very like, we didn't
Really?
take
Yes,
any
it was very
pictures.
strict. Yes, very, very
Okay.
strict.
Super strict.
Confidentiality.
I
was-
will let
Or
go.
share
I will
anything.
let go of the
Yes.
phone as long as I can see, rings of fire and
Yes.
stuff like that.
Hopefully
And-
not.
and that girl
no,
crying.
hopefully not.
That lady crying over there.
I can cry right now. Just like ask me to think
just
about how
that.
tired I am.
Just give
and
me a
it
second.
will happen.
Crying time is over. Yeah.
And I'm sure we're going to have a second interview with the
Sure.
launch of season 2.
Sure.
Chan
Yes.
Bayada.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much
Sarah.
for having me.
Thank you.